If I have I have 8 years experience in IT infrastructure services, and I worked with TCS, I worked with Microsoft. Now I'm currently working with Allscript, and I'm working on cloud technology and in infrastructure services. And I'm into cloud. 5+ years experience. I'm into cloud. I worked in different services as currently working on PaaS services, and now I'm moving to the new services like previously I worked in completely in operation solution part. Now I'm working on platform. So this is what I'm learning in the new services in Azure cloud, and looking for to grow in Azure. That is my career aspiration. Okay, so let me start with the. I hope you are clear with the goal. We are learning Azure Administrator Associate, which is a new certificate code, which is 103. And before we start, we can have agenda. What will be the covering? What are the things we will be covering today in this demonstration? And then later we discuss one by each point in detail in each slide. Okay, first we will be learning about what is cloud. I hope you are aware the cloud technology, why they are leading into the market, and what are the requirements, why people are moving to the cloud technology. So we will be discussing in this, and what are the cloud, who are the providers who providing the cloud services, and what are the models we have in the cloud. And we will just see some few parameters, a few counters of difference between AWS and Microsoft Azure, and also we will see the overview of physical data center. And later then we will discuss about the actual working flow from the actual what we are doing from the front end, and what's happening in the actual data center from to the back end. That will be the flow overview we can discuss here. And also we can see the few fundamental cloud fundamental services, and what difference between those services, then Azure certification plan, then the about the course content. And yeah, that's enough. So before we can start, just I want to understand, no I want from you guys to have no conversation about what you understand about the cloud, and what is in mind about the cloud. So if anyone can help me about this, so that will be no that would much appreciate, so we can proceed further. So please, any can voluntarily help me what understand about the cloud. What is the understanding about the cloud you have? Prashant, Ashish. No problem if you are fresher, no problem. Just what understanding you have generally. I'm not asking exactly, but I want to know about the what general thing you are thinking about the cloud, so I can help you more on into that.
The
Yes,
cloud is
Ashish.
used for storage.
Yes, yeah, you are right. This is the one services you talked about, and what are the others? I mean, what other people, Prashant, Preeti, what you guys think about the cloud apart from storage? I want you guys to speak here because I don't want to make one side conversation here. No, we can speak, we can clear the doubts if you have no that will be no make much sense about these having this fair enough. So cloud is not only the storage and backup. Apart from storage and backup, there are many things, many services provided by the cloud providers. Previously we are just only using the just we are using storage. We are thinking that cloud is only providing the storage. So now you can see they are providing many things, not only storage, they are providing everything: software as a services, platform as a services, and infrastructure as a services. So we will be discussing more into detail in the next slide. So cloud is as per the Microsoft Azure CTO, is Mark Rosen, which he's a chief technology officer. He defined in a simple term, cloud is on demand, scalable, multi-tenant, and self-service compute resource. So here on demand, On demand is if you guys know, like if you guys are from technical background, from infrastructure background, they can understand for a single request. If you need, we can take an example of the laptop. If you buy a laptop, there is a demand. No, you want this configuration, these are the things you require, and for that you need to for those things you need to send a request. I want to explain how in the real scenario how the chain works. So in real scenario, the development team or the some teams need to send a request to the IT department to give some kind of resource, source they can help to build a software, or they can use the software to build their code. So for in that scenario, they have to follow some chain that will require at least a week, 4 to 5 days to get approval to get that actual resource. Or the server, if I take an example of server, they take at least required 5 days to get that approval to get that resource. Then they later they can use those application or the server to build the code, to run the to execute the code, to test, to do the testing and each and everything. It will take some time. So here on demand means you no need to wait for the no resource. Here you can on any at any point of time from any remote location you can start deployment. If you are traveling, if you are somewhere in the world, if you want to deploy if any resource or any services from the cloud, you can do it without waiting for approval. Okay, that is on demand. Scalable, for example, if you have configure a server, I'm talking in terms of infrastructure. If you configure some server with the configuration from some basic configuration, and later you realize your application required more high level configuration. Instead of 10 GB you required 16 GB RAM. You need storage, more storage. In that case, in if we consider the old trend, there we need to know we cannot replace with the existing resource. Either we can reuse if there is a high available. If there is no if not required, then we have to wait for the time to utilize those things. So what it's on demand, I mean the in the old trend which we follow. But in cloud, scalable at any point of time, within a second you can scale up from 10 to 16 GB, for example, or you can scale down from 16 to 10 GB based on the requirement. Based on the requirement, you can scale up and scale down accordingly. So that is a scale up and scale down. You cannot, you are not waiting or you're not holding the resource till the new clients comes. You can utilize those resources, for example. Multi-tenant, coming to the point here, as we know previously, cloud is only storage. No, the answer is no, because they are not only providing storage, they are also providing a software, a ready application, and they providing the platform where you can run, you can build the code using those tools, and IS where you get the infrastructure resources like networking, compute, storage, backup, and all. So we will be discussing more in the layer in the next slide. And we have separate slide for the multi-tenant where we are discussing each part, PaaS, what comes under platform, what comes under software, what comes under infrastructure. We will be discussing more in the later slides. So the last term, which is self-service compute. For here, there is no dependent. Like if I'm a developer, I don't want to wait for the infrastructure guys or the team who can no who can give me the resources, and I need to wait for the approval, then we have to start doing that. No, the cloud technology, they have made easiest no easier a way to deploy any services, including server, application. Everything will be deployed in few steps, and it will not require more than 5 to 10 minutes. You can know that everything's get ready. So here you're not waiting for the team to give the resource. If you are enough to learn the cloud technology, you can also become an infrastructure engineer as well. And if infra guys who want to learn a development part, then they can easily get no they can easily understand within in a minimum steps they can deploy an application. So vice versa, again it's dependency upon the interest. So they are making a easier way to to work on the cloud. So anyone have any questions with respect to what is meant by cloud? Why cloud computing require? So we will be discussing more about with the example here. Here, if you see here, there's we have two guys. One is Paul and one is a cloud expert. So Paul, he's the one of the owner, or who is the no, who is the owner who want to start our organization, who want to set up an organization, who want to business or run a business. There, he's trying to plan for the no plan for the infrastructure, or planning for the everything physically. So the another person who is from the right side, he's from the expert, from the cloud expert background. He's telling why we are not, why you are not choosing the cloud technology instead of going with the physical. So then the cloud expert, or the consult, who is explaining the differences between the on-premise. If you choose on-premise, what will get, and if you choose the cloud computing, what benefit you will get. So if you see in on-premise, we have higher pay, less scalability. So you guys know, if to start an organization, what are the cost involved to set up a data center. So there are the highest pay you need to pay for the data center to set up, to manage those things. And there is a less scalability, like if anything happen, if anything disaster happen, then you cannot recover. No, if you choose the cloud technology here, we have already discussed about the scale up and scale down, if you choose the cloud technology, which is not covers in on-premise. And there's a lot of huge space required for the servers if you choose the on-premise. Here it's a server, I mean there's no space required, and you can manage virtually. Here you need to appoint a team who can maintain your hardware, software, anything that should be required, a separate team to manage or to maintain it. Here no expert required. If the cloud itself having the person who is learning cloud technology, he will be becoming multi-skill no person, where he can learn not only learning storage and backup, he also learning the all like compute, storage and network. So he will be called a multiple skill here. So that's why here no expert required. And for the hardware and software maintenance, because cloud providers, they are managing the things. And if you consider with the on-premise, you have poor data security. Here better data security. So there is a less chance of data recovery in on-premise. If something happened, if floods came, if there is anything happened, disaster happen in the city, so if there is a data center there, then it will be destroy, and you cannot recover the data which you have in the application, or any storage you cannot recover. But if you consider the cloud, you can recover from different location, even from different country as well. They are providing recovery for the if anything happen, for example in India, so you can also recover from the data center, from the nearest region, nearest country. From there you can recover it. So there are many things we can discuss here about the cloud technology, about the benefit of the cloud compared to the on-premises. So before and so we need to understand about the who are the cloud providers, who is providing, and who are the leaders in the market, who is providing the services. So cloud providers are, if you see the first top level, who is the AWS and Microsoft and IBM, VMware. These are the cloud providers who are providing the cloud services. And we jumping to the next slide, where we have the deployments model. In cloud, we have public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. So these are the models we have providing by the cloud providers. Based on the requirements, you can update it. So here also we have services model. We will be discussing layer wise in after some slide. Before understanding about the services, we need to understand what are the cloud deployments models available. So here, if you see here, we have public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud, and we can understand these three all the three services, three models with this example. So public cloud, where you are completely depending upon the no virtual, I mean the completely cloud services, and you are sharing the resources among your clients, and there is no what security involved if you choose the public cloud and sharing within your clients. If you go with the private cloud, where you can you can dedicate the resources to your client and you can utilize according to the client, and you are separating the services which you're using from the cloud. And hybrid cloud is again, it's a combination of public and private. So by this example, you can understand more about the public cloud and private cloud and hybrid cloud. So most in life scenario, most many organization, they are going with hybrid cloud, and they don't want to completely depend upon the public cloud. That's why they are integrating private cloud with the public cloud. So which is nothing but the hybrid cloud. So here, so we can understand the establishment about the AWS and Azure. AWS is the first provider in who are in the leader in the market, who started the who started the cloud technology, and they brought the into the public in 2006. Previously, they have used for their own internal client. Then later in 2016, they have launched to the public, and they are continuing, and they are continuing the leader in the market. The competitor with the AWS, the Microsoft, who launched in 2010 after 4 years with AWS, but still they are leading along with AWS. There is only difference, 10% difference between the AWS with the and Microsoft. And hybrid technologies are one of the most primary key. Because of that, the reason Microsoft are growing more compared to AWS. So if you see this, the availability zone, this is the what the quarter 2 2018 survey, according to that, 55 availability zone, the data centers they have built, and they have planned for 8 more on in 2019, and they have started planning for that. Microsoft Azure, they have 44 they have already built, and they are planning for 12 in 2019, and they have also in between building the data center. So if you see the below graph, which talk about the overall picture about the cloud service provider, 40% leading by AWS, 30% leading by Microsoft, and 30% rest of all, including Google Cloud, VMware, Alibaba, all those cloud services. Moving to the next slide, these are again based on the region, the popularity based on the region. And here you can see who are the customers who uh, using the technology AWS. They are Netflix, AR, Airbnb, Unilever, BMW, Samsung, MI, and Zynga are the customers of the top customer of the AWS. And Johnson Control, Adobe, Fujitsu, HP, Honeywell are the top customer for Microsoft. But if nowadays, if you see, many organization, even the service-based organization, also started providing the services to their own client using the cloud tech services. So here you can see the 100 plus services providing by AWS, and Microsoft also competing and providing the 100 plus services to customers. And these are the open source integration tool providing by the AWS, Jenkins, Ansible, GitHub, the most famous tool nowadays. Developer are they are using. I know I remember this in I was part of DevOps training, so we are completely using the GitHub. So here are the integration tool which is providing by the Microsoft, or the Active Directory, VBScript, SQL Server. So VBScript, from there, no, they are doing some automation using the Azure ARM template. So these are the integration tool using. For next is a pricing model. If you see AWS and Azure both are providing in terms of the same configuration. If you see they are for the same configuration, they are charging $3.2 per hour, and they are charging 6.7 per hour dollar per hour. So now Microsoft also providing the hybrid license, and they are giving 49% of discount if you go with the hybrid license. So again, it will comes to 3 point something for per hour, and they are charging on basis of, if you choose, they have subscription called pay as you go. They are charging on minute basis. In AWS they are charging on hour basis. So conclusion about who is worst and who is best. So here, if you see, we cannot say who is best. It's again depend upon the requirement about the client and about the interest and about the services which you are looking for. So you can judge by that. We cannot say by the services. It's again depend upon the requirement. You can choose the technology. So uh, so who can start this learning? Either you can start if you are fresher, you can start if you are if you know some basic about the Windows, Linux, networking concept. That also fine to who can start learning the Azure as well. It will definitely help you to know to achieve your goal in your career. So let's start with the Azure, because this is the what is our goal is to know understand about the what is Azure. So Azure is a cloud computing platform and online portal to access and manage the resources and the services provided by the Microsoft. And this is an example. You required only a subscription and the internet access. You can sit anywhere in any location, remote location. You can access the application and you start deploying the services. And it's from this single application. You no need to have multi application to deploy. From single application, we call in Azure Microsoft Azure portal. From there you can deploy the services. So this is the example of the data center. Just overview. You are either you are customer, either you are support, or either you are engineers who are accessing. This is the URL or the path of using the Microsoft Azure portal, from where these guys are deploying the services, application, servers, database, any app services which is providing the Microsoft. So this is the portal, this is the application from where you can deploy the services. This is how looks Microsoft Azure portal. So here in the left side, if you see, these are the services which I have made a favorite. That's why it's visible at the left side in the pane. So you can, if you need to see, I will demonstrate. I will walk through that demonstration later. So just once we complete the slides, I walk through the live portal from where we can deploy the server. So you can more understand more compared to this. So this is how application looks. This is how the GUI looks for this Azure portal. And this is the data center or image, because you should be understanding how what's actual happening from the back end. If you are working from the front end, this is the front end where we working on the GUI, but you need to understand what's happening in the back end, how the flows goes in the back end. That is that understanding also that required to know if you are the cloud engineer. So as I said, it's a self-service compute, like I mentioned in the first slide. Within these steps, 2, 3, 4 steps, you will be going to create a server. In 3 steps, you will be creating a server, selecting the resource. Here, resource can be anything, and you're selecting the image. Here they have taken the example of virtual machine. So this image of virtual machine, either it can be Windows, Linux, Ubuntu, anything. Then putting the relevant information, then selecting the VM server configuration, and creating. This is the simple steps which I will be demonstrating once we complete this slide. And this is the way of deployment model. There are many ways to deploy the services into Azure. Either you can go with portal, which is GUI, or else you are expert in PowerShell script, then you can use a PowerShell script here. And if you are expert in API, then you can go with the REST API. There is even .NET. There are many way of deployment. You can choose based on your expertise. And there are the Visual Studio. This is the one of the things which is used nowadays. Many organizations are using this VSTS to deploy some running the automation job. For that, they are using this tool, and there are other ways as well. So here, whatever we are sending information to the in the Azure portal, in the Azure application, which is going with this customer definition file, which is nothing but the XML file, which is human readable. So this file is going to the RDFE agent, who is the RDFE is nothing but Red Dog front end. It's a piece of software in the data center who is responsible to split the customer definition file into the SVD and TRD, which is understood by the Fabric controller. And Fabric controller are again a piece of software which is no, which is located in the data center on the top of the rack. So which is a piece of software who is completely responsible for allocation of the services. We will understand more in the next slide about what Fabric controllers do and how the flows goes. This is the GUI interface where from the Azure portal, from the application, where you customer or the engineers who are deploying the services, which are sending a request, we're sending an API request, which is the API calls to the orchestra. Here, orchestra is a piece of software who is taking care on taking or responsible for managing entire Azure operation from front end to back end. So orchestra is responsible to send information to the Fabric controller, which we have seen in the previous slide, who is locating the services on each node. For example, if you are creating the virtual machine, you are sending information from the GUI from the portal, which are XML file, which are going a call to the orchestra, and orchestra sending that information to the Fabric controller, and Fabric control is responsible to locate that server, or to put that server in available nodes, whichever the nodes available in the cluster, that that Fabric controller is putting those server into the cluster. And again, this is nothing, everything is not only the virtual. In data centers, they Microsoft have deployed the physical server, which on top of that we have a hypervisor who is responsible to split the resources based on the user request, configuration request. They can allocate, they can provide the resources to the user. So this is the overview of the architecture view of how the flows goes from the front end, whatever we are doing from the portal, how it's actual working in the back end. This is the overview. So in training, in training, we will be understanding each and every component in detail, and how the actual flows goes and subcomponents of each services here. Anyone have question here before moving to the next slide? Coming to the service model as PaaS and SaaS. So here, infrastructure as stand for infrastructure as a services, PaaS stand for platform as a services, SaaS stand for software as services. So here I can show you the slide where you can understand more granularly. Here it shows by the each on the layer. You can understand more clear if you by this layers. If you see the standalone servers, which is nothing but the on-premise, which are the physical data center where the organizations are responsible to take care of network, storage, server, virtualization, operating system, database, runtime, and the application. The entire things need to be taken care by the organization in the in the standalone servers. If you move to the cloud, what they are providing? They are providing a different services, infrastructure as services. If you don't want to manage and you want the infra resources you are from the cloud providers, you no need to take care of any these four layers. The Azure or AWS, whoever the providers who will be taking care of these verticals or this layer. You only need to take care of your database and the tools you need which you want to deploy or which where you are want to run the code to build the application. Then you need to take care of that if you are only taking the subscription for all these services. If you are if you also you don't want to take care of the tools where you are running the code, then you can choose the platform as a services. You will get the tools as well as you will get the ready function or the applications. Just you need to uh, just you need to put the code and you have to execute the code if you don't want to take care of the tools. Then which comes under platform as services. And software as services, if you are not you don't want to take care of code as well, there is an app there in software as services. There are ready application available in the marketplace of Azure, from where you can just choose and you can utilize for your business. Okay, so this is the differences between the infrastructure as services, platform as services, and software as services. So here these slides are very important to understand to about the services. If you guys have any questions, so you can clear it here itself. So you can so we can move to the next slide. This is a very important slide to understand about the services. That's why I'm repeating here. So if you want, if you're not understand, then let me know. I can go more in details about each layer here if you're not understanding. Okay. Okay, so this way, as I said, this is a very important. If you remember this slide, then you can easily understand about the services and you can explain about the cloud technology. So now coming to the platform infrastructure as services. So the goal of this course is this, where we are more focusing on these providers like compute, storage, and network. You guys know computes deal with CPU, memory, temporary drive, and all. Storage, VHD, virtual hard disk, hard disk drive, solid state drive. We will be deal under storage provider. In network, you know we have subnet, virtual network, IP address. No, network peering all comes under the networking. So this is the main components comes under the infrastructure as services. So now certification plan. So this is the certification. Now this certificate is expire, which is 102. Previously it was called 102, and now it replaced with 103. Because in 102, if you want to become Azure administrator, then you need to complete two certification, and Microsoft got many feedback on this. That's why they have changed and they have came with 103 from the May itself. So if you see in online, if you will be able to see 103 is the only single certificate for this role. So what are the different roles available in the cloud Azure cloud platform? So here are the complete certification plan. There will be a fundamental, which is 900. Then there is another certificate for administrator, which we have seen in the previous slide, which is Azure Administrator Associate. So there is another which is 203, which is Azure Developer Associate. If you want to become certified on Azure Developer Associate, then you need to go with 203 as well. There is another the architecture certificate, which is 303, which comes on for the expert at the expert level. And Microsoft Azure DevOps, this certificate also exists now, which is 400. So this is the complete plan of Azure certification. So the main goal or focusing we are on this certificate, which is Microsoft Certified Azure Administrator Associate, which is 103. Any questions you have here? Okay. So on each, so there is this is the we have completed the slide presentation. So now I want to walk through the actual on Azure portal. Now Azure also made very easiest way. I think I have question here. Let me. Okay, Preeti, yes, we will be covering about the Azure ARM template creation and deployment, and Azure automation as well, and Azure Log Analytics. We are going more along with Log Analytics. We're also going with more in depth with App Insight as well. No worries. Key Vault, yes. CDN, yes. Service Bus. I think this is already shared with you about the Service Bus, Azure Functions, Azure Event Hub. This is something which I need to check because I'm right now I cannot confirm on this. But apart from these 3 points, I will be no covering you what you mentioned in the list. I think Rajni or anyone from this team, anyone they have already communicated on this part. Okay, so rest of other 5 out of 8 points, 5 points will be going to be covered, and also we will be covering more apart from that what you mentioned. But the last 3 points which I need to check, I'm not right now, I cannot confirm on this. And what is the query about asked by the Prashant? Let me see, Prashant. Uh, okay. So Prashant, Azure CL and PowerShell. Yes, definitely. Prashant, we will be along with the portal. We are also going to be working on admin PowerShell part as well, like migration here, which is cloud migration. Um, uh, let me clear itself. Cloud migration where we require the PowerShell script and the deployment, server deployment in terms of bulk servers. That time we need to use the PowerShell script, and there are many things we need to use using the PowerShell scripts. You can on each and every topics we will be covering through the portal, but few topics which require PowerShell script, definitely we will go with the PowerShell script as well. I hope your query is clear. Okay, thanks Prashant for confirmation. Okay, this is the fair enough. I have completed the demonstration. Let me walk through the portal, how actual portal looks. I hope you guys already know, but let me walk through from the portal as well, so you can get some brief idea about this. Okay, so this is how this is the portal where we will be going to work on this. And if you see what are the services they are Microsoft Azure providing, these are the services you can see in the second pane, where you can see the compute, network, storage, web, mobile containers, many services in each providers providing no multiple services. If you see in general, these are the things in compute server, these are the things, and in network, these are the subcomponents of networks. So we will be more focusing on compute, network, and storage. These are the targeted for the more into 103. If you compare with the 103 certificate, these are the main focus on these things along with the general. So let me quickly deploy a server if you guys are interested. So or else if you want to wind up, so we can also end this here. If you want me to walk through, yeah, sure. Thanks Preeti for confirmation. So here let me walk through the creating the server, where you can see how quickly we can deploy server on limited time on the portal. If we go with the PowerShells, which is the half of the time which we are taking here, it will take half of the time. For example, if you're taking 1 minute, 2 minutes here on the from the portal, it take in seconds. So if you go with the ARM template, again it's again a half time of the PowerShell script. So you guys know, and because I can see your interest on, so that based on that I can see you are already aware about the things. So let me walk through. I'm creating the server, so taking demo as my server name, and I'm taking the location. These are the location from where I'm going to deploy my server, and I don't want to go with the availability. I'm creating the basic server, which is yes, selecting the size. 2016 is not available, should be not empty. Selecting the size, I will go with the basic size. Okay, East US. So this is the VM size configuration. If here you can see the RAM, data disk, maximum input output operation. These are the things, and you can also see this price of the server. So here I'm giving my admin details. Not matching. Great. So you can secure your network, creating the ports here. Yeah, this is the one which I was talking in terms of no hybrid. So Microsoft providing you a 50 percentage of discount if you're using the hybrid license. Half of the price which you choose here will be going to be reduced. This is the major key point for in Microsoft in terms of pricing model. So the next is disk. These are the basic things. Networking. I'm taking the my default network. Uh, Hello. These are the network counters where you will be going to learn each and every topics will be covered in the training. So this is the simple, I'm creating the basic deployment model for the Azure VM. So you can see here, this is the tags where you can define by client wise. If you are working with multiple client, giving the tag name to this, from where you can manage the manage the resources by the name, and is there easiest way to know calculate the cost for each client. This is the features they have given here. So this is the steps. If you see, it's not taken more than 1 minute to create the server, and it's started creating the deploying the server. As I told, it's on demand, and if you see, there is no team required here. Even if you are developer, you can also deploy the servers very quickly in within a minute. So now it's under deployment, and once if you see the bell icon, there's a notification. You can see each and every update you are doing in the Azure portal, that will be able to see it in the bell icon in the notification. And also you can see in the activity logs, there is activity logs each and every resources where you can identify who did and when did. Okay, there's information you can select from. So for that I can show you where the activity logs are located. I will take again the example of the server, the existing server which I have created. So here is the activity log from where you can identify the details of the. Okay, so here the deployment is in under progress. So this is the way how we can deploy the services. So Preeti, you have any question here? Okay, thanks for confirmation. Okay, so this is I'm done from my end.